Hello, my name is Bronwyn. The question I will be asking myself now is, what was the clinical reasoning behind the interventions that I chose to do with Elliot? So one of those interventions was a form of employment support where I collaborated with his employer to monitor his progress at work and rearrange his timetable in response to needs that arose when working with him. So it was decided by the team that Elliot needed support in the workplace, and this role was delegated to me as the OT student. So already there were expectations from me that I would carry out with this responsibility. So in this way I was using pragmatic reasoning because I was taking into account organisational influences that were impacting on my practice with Elliot. I was also giving way to expertise that were more extensive than my own. When working with Elliot, I also had to consider his performance within the societal context and not just within the practice context, which was the hospital. So when Elliot is discharged, he will be living in supported accommodation, but he will have fewer supports than he is currently receiving while in hospital. So in order to maintain his routine and continue engaging in his vocational activities, he needs to be able to independently get himself to work on time without continuous prompting and encouragement from staff. So by changing the start time of his work shift, the idea is that he will have more time in the morning to get himself up and ready independently without assistance from direct care staff. So in this way I was using conditional reasoning because I was thinking beyond the practice context and considering the supports that he will receive when living in the community. I was also taking into account the value that he had associated with this role. So I listened to him and his concerns about his current performance at work, and I validated his feelings towards this. So in this way I was using narrative reasoning because I was acknowledging his experience in the workplace and also the effect that it was having on him. Another intervention that I implemented with Elliot was skills training in meal preparation, planning and cleaning. So Elliot had expressed an interest in cooking, and by choosing to focus on cooking, I was using interactive reasoning because I was thinking about how I could best engage him in the OT program, and I did this by focusing on an interest that he had. I was also thinking about, again, conditional reasoning by looking at his performance as it would be in the societal context, which would be in the community. As he's living by himself and as he will have fewer supports than he has had in hospital, this increases the need for him to self-manage at home independently. So this was another reason why I focus on developing those domestic skills that he would need when living in his own home. When doing these tasks with him, I adapted and graded the task. So again, I was using interactive reasoning because I was thinking about how best I could motivate him and engage him in the task, and I did that by changing the demands of the task and allowing a better fit between Elliot and his environment and the task, thereby allowing him to feel more control of his environment. So I also use procedural reasoning because the literature says that cognition is common in people with schizophrenia. So by simplifying the task, for example, reducing the amount of ingredients that is required, reduces the amount of cognitive demands of the tasks and allowing that better fit between the person, their environment, and the demands of the task. So that is my answer to the question. Thank you for listening.